Have you ever felt trapped by negative thoughts, like a shadow you just can't escape? Perhaps it's the relentless anxiety about the future, the anger that flares up in moments you can't control, or the fear that paralyzes you and holds you back. These emotions don't just drain your energy, they can dim the light of joy in your life. But you're not alone. We've all stood in those moments of struggle, wondering how to break free. Stoicism, with its timeless principles, offers more than philosophical musings. It provides a practical guide to facing these emotions head-on. It teaches us that tranquility isn't about avoiding feelings, but learning to manage the mind so we aren't swept away by them. The path may not be simple, but it's one you can walk if you're ready to take the first step. What you're about to hear isn't empty theory, but hard-earned insights I've gathered through real experiences and the wisdom of Stoicism. So, stay focused and don't miss a single part of this journey. Each moment brings you closer to overcoming negative emotions and reclaiming control over your life. Let's begin this transformative journey together. Number 1. Recognize that your mind can create joy. The human mind is a wondrous gift, a mechanism capable of producing the entire spectrum of emotions, from profound sorrow and overwhelming anxiety to pure joy and serene tranquility. Yet, the sad truth is that we often fail to understand how to use this gift. Instead of being a loyal companion, our mind frequently becomes the source of our suffering. This isn't because the mind is flawed, but because we unwittingly let it operate unconsciously, pressing the wrong keys on the keyboard of emotions. And so, we find ourselves trapped in seemingly endless cycles of negativity. Imagine sitting in a quiet room. Your mind, like a keyboard, can type out thoughts of failure, worries about the future, or regrets about the past. But why not type thoughts of joy, moments of gratitude, happy memories? Just like a musician who knows how to play the right notes on a piano, you too can learn to use your mind to compose the emotional melodies you desire. When you feel caught in a whirlwind of negative emotions, it's not because life lacks positivity, but because you're unknowingly pressing the wrong keys. Consider this simple example. You wake up in the morning, and your first thoughts are of unfinished tasks or unresolved conflicts. These thoughts make you feel anxious or dejected. But if you pause for a moment and think instead about being alive, about the opportunity to change your day, would your feelings be different? Joy isn't something you need to search for externally. It has always been within you. Often, we get swept up in chasing external factors like success, money, or validation from others, hoping they'll bring us happiness. Yet, Stoicism reminds us that true happiness lies in mastering our mind. When you stop generating negative thoughts, joy naturally arises. Picture a simple scenario. It's a tiring afternoon, and the weight of unfinished tasks presses down on you. If you focus solely on the stress, your mind will churn out more negative thoughts. But if you pause, glance out the window, and notice the clear blue sky or the leaves dancing in the wind, you'll realize that joy doesn't come from completing tasks. It comes from changing how you perceive the world. Seneca once wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." Our minds are often stuck between the past and the future, anxious about what's to come or regretful of what has passed, instead of embracing the present moment. Think of a day you spent with family. Instead of fully enjoying the time, perhaps your mind was consumed by work thoughts. This not only robbed you of the joy of the moment, but also deepened your negativity. However, if you had paused, taken a deep breath, and focused on the smiles of your loved ones, you would have realized that true joy is always within reach. Here's a simple practice. Whenever you feel negativity creeping in, pause and ask yourself, am I pressing the wrong key on my mind's keyboard? Then, replace those thoughts with something you're grateful for or a happy memory. Understanding that your mind can create joy is the first step to overcoming negative emotions like fear, anger, or anxiety. When you master your mind, you not only stop the production of suffering, but also activate the creation of joy and peace. This isn't an abstract theory. It's something you can practice starting today. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Number 2, learn to master your mind. When you realize that the mind has the power to create both joy and suffering, you begin to see clearly that happiness does not stem from circumstances, but from how you manage your thoughts. Yet, this realization is only the beginning. The next step, more crucial than the first, is to learn how to master your mind so it becomes a source of strength rather than a burden. But how can you truly take control of your mind? Stoicism teaches us that the root of suffering does not lie in external events, but in how we perceive and react to them. Think about the times you've allowed anger to take over. You yelled, fumed, maybe even hurt someone with your words or actions. And afterward, how did you feel? Relieved? Probably not. Anger doesn't solve problems, it often worsens them. As Seneca wrote, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. So, ask yourself, is it worth trading your inner peace for fleeting moments of emotional turmoil? Emotions like anger aren't external forces attacking you. They're not independent entities you can smash or eradicate. They are simply states of the mind, a spontaneous reaction when the mind is left unchecked. Picture your mind as a wild horse. If you don't train it to follow the right path, it will gallop uncontrollably, dragging you into the depths of emotional instability. When you feel anger, anxiety, or fear, it's a sign that your mind is operating on its own terms, not yours. So, how can you take the reins? Start by seeing your mind as an ally, not an adversary. Instead of fighting negative emotions, learn to observe and understand them. When anger arises, resist the urge to react impulsively. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, why am I angry? Is this truly worth my peace? Would things improve if I chose not to be angry? This self-inquiry not only helps you manage your emotions, but also reveals the true nature of the problem. Marcus Aurelius once said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. You always have the power to choose your response, and that is your ultimate strength. Life is a series of challenges. Some days, everything goes smoothly, and you feel light and at ease. Other days, even minor inconveniences, a traffic jam or a thoughtless comment, can throw you off balance. This is when you need to remember you cannot control everything that happens, but you can control how you respond. Think of driving on a busy road. You can't stop someone from running a red light or swerving into your lane, but you can choose how to react. Pause, yield, and keep yourself safe. Life works the same way. While you can't control others or external events, you can always choose a calm response. Mastering your mind requires consistent effort, much like building muscle through exercise. You can't expect immediate strength. Instead, it takes daily practice, step by step. When faced with a situation that triggers worry, rather than letting your emotions spiral, focus on your breath and remind yourself that everything is temporary. Controlling the mind doesn't mean eliminating negative emotions entirely. It means learning to live harmoniously with them. Emotions, whether positive or negative, are a natural part of being human. But when you master your mind, you no longer let emotions control you. Instead, you become the captain of your life, steady even in the face of great storms. Your mind, when mastered, isn't just a place to extinguish negative emotions. It's also the wellspring of joy, creativity, and limitless strength. So, are you ready to embark on the journey of mastering your mind? Share your thoughts in the comments below. What is the greatest challenge you face in trying to control your mind? Have you ever discovered a source of strength or joy in mastering your thoughts and emotions? We'd love to hear your story. Now, let's move on to the next lesson. Number 3. Stop letting imagination run wild. When faced with fear, anger, or anxiety, have you ever stopped to ask yourself, where do these emotions really come from? Most of the time, we're not afraid of reality itself, but of what we imagine might happen. Think back to the last time you felt anxious. Did your mind create a cascade of negative scenarios? Perhaps you envisioned a meeting where you'd be publicly criticized, or worried that an email from your boss hinted you'd done something wrong. But in reality, how many of those imagined scenarios actually came true? Likely, almost none. As Epictetus wisely said, men are not worried by real problems so much as by their imagined anxieties about real problems. Most of our fears are the creations of our imagination, and the sad part is we believe in these creations as if they were real. Imagination is an incredibly powerful tool, but when used without control, it becomes a double-edged sword. Our minds are like skilled filmmakers, yet unfortunately, they often prefer to produce horror films rather than uplifting stories. Picture yourself watching a movie in your head where everything is dark and full of danger. Your heart races, your palms sweat, all because of images conjured up by your own mind. And when that movie ends, you realize nothing actually happened. It was all an illusion. Yet, ironically, that illusion still managed to hurt you. We can learn to harness the power of our imagination in a different, more positive way, like a creative director crafting stories of hope. Instead of producing haunting horror films, why not try making a comedy? Imagine the dreaded meeting ending in laughter, or that ominous email from your boss turning out to be praise. Take a moment, close your eyes, and picture something that makes you smile. Just as easily as you can create a horror story, you can weave joyful tales within your mind. Consider a real-life scenario. Someone receives a message from their partner that reads, "We need to talk immediately." Their mind spirals into imagining everything has gone wrong, the partner is upset, or there's a major issue with their relationship. The mental theater kicks into high gear, constructing scenes of tense arguments and disastrous outcomes. But when the conversation finally happens, it turns out their partner just wanted to discuss an exciting new idea. All that prior anxiety was completely unnecessary. This is how negative imagination works. It leads us into dead ends of fear, even when nothing is actually wrong. Recognizing that our minds distort reality is the first step toward reclaiming the power to overcome negative emotions. The key isn't to fight fear or anxiety, but to let go of unnecessary struggles. After all, you can't fight something that doesn't truly exist. Look at your fear and say, "You're not real. I don't need to waste my energy on you." In life, when the external world is filled with uncertainty, your mind should be the kindest place you know. Instead of tormenting yourself with horror films, let your mind craft gentle landscapes, happy stories, and even romantic dreams. As Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." If reality is already challenging, at the very least, you deserve a kind and comforting inner world where you can find solace and encouragement. Ultimately, the lesson of Stoicism is this: imagination isn't the enemy. It's a powerful tool you can learn to control. Let it serve you rather than dominate you. When you stop constructing negative scenarios, you'll find that reality, while difficult at times, is often much lighter than what you imagined. And in that realization, you will discover true peace. Number 4, reframe how you label emotions. Letting go of excessive overthinking brings peace to your mind, but that's just the beginning. To truly overcome negative emotions, you need to change the way you label them. The way you define your emotions determines the power they hold over you. Consider this familiar scenario. You wake up on a rainy morning, faced with a mountain of work, and everything seems to be against you. Frustration bubbles up as you predict a day filled with trouble. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is the rain itself really the problem? The rain is a neutral event, neither positive nor negative. It's your perception of it as an obstacle or an opportunity to cozy up with a warm cup of tea that shapes your emotional experience. When you change the label you assign to your emotions, you transform the way you feel about them. We often forget that every emotion stems from a thought, and thoughts, at their core, are just waves rising and falling in the mind. The real challenge is that we're often unaware of what we're thinking. An uncontrolled mind operates like a chaotic machine, churning out unchecked reactions. Negative emotions like fear or anxiety don't hold inherent power. They're amplified by our unconscious, unexamined reactions. Imagine preparing for an important presentation. Anxiety takes over, your palms sweat, your heart races, and you feel like you can't do it. But stop and look closer. Is anxiety truly your enemy? Or is it simply a sign that you care deeply and want to succeed? By shifting your perspective, anxiety stops being a burden and becomes an ally, helping you focus and prepare more effectively. Emotions themselves are neither inherently negative nor positive. It's the meaning we assign to them that defines their impact. In truth, there's no such thing as purely positive or negative thoughts. Thoughts fall into two categories, conscious and unconscious. Conscious thoughts are those you intentionally direct toward your goals or solutions, while unconscious thoughts are the automatic, uncontrolled stream of the mind, like a river sweeping everything along its path. This unconscious state is the root of much suffering, as it compels us to react impulsively rather than respond thoughtfully. Stoicism emphasizes that the difference between a free mind and one enslaved by emotions lies in the ability to control thoughts. Many of us are caught in a cycle of battling our emotions, striving to suppress or eliminate them, believing that ridding ourselves of negative thoughts will bring relief. Yet, the harder we try to suppress them, the more they consume us. Try this simple experiment. For the next 10 seconds, don't think about a monkey. Can you do it? Instead, your mind is likely flooded with images of monkeys. That's the nature of the mind. When you force it in one direction, it rebels. The same happens when you try to eliminate negative emotions. The more you fight them, the more entrenched they become. Instead of resisting, learn to accept and redefine them. Anxiety can signify care and dedication. Anger can reflect a yearning for justice. Fear can remind you that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. No emotion is your enemy, unless you choose to see it that way. Life is a series of challenges. Emotions, whether positive or negative, are signals from your mind, reminding you that you are alive, feeling, and learning. By changing the way you label your emotions, you not only transcend pain, but also unlock the ability to live more fully, with serenity and gratitude. Stoicism doesn't teach detachment from emotions. It teaches clarity, helping you see that every emotion is an opportunity for growth. If you've made it this far, congratulations. This shows your commitment to personal growth and your determination to reclaim control over your life. What you've learned here forms the foundation for profound transformation, and your journey is just beginning. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like and share it with others who may need this message. As this chapter ends, you're equipped with an unshakable strategy to face any challenge. So keep going. The most important part is yet to come. Number 5. Understand how the mind works. Understanding how the mind works is one of the most essential keys to overcoming negative thoughts and emotions. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the human mind is the one thing we have the most control over. Yet, ironically, it is often the thing we understand the least. Without grasping the mechanisms of our mind, we can easily be swept away by cycles of fear, anxiety, and anger, becoming victims of it rather than its master. Imagine your mind as a garden. If left unattended, weeds, negative thoughts will quickly take over. But if you nurture it and plant good seeds, positive and constructive thoughts, it will flourish into a vibrant space full of life. Interestingly, many people don't realize that the mind doesn't function like scissors, simply cutting away bad thoughts. You can't just remove fear or anxiety. In fact, when you try to do so, the mind amplifies them, like an echo that grows louder. If I tell you, don't think of a pink elephant, can you manage that? The more you resist the thought, the more vividly it appears. This is the nature of the mind. What you resist persists. Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." It is our perception of events, not the events themselves, that shapes our emotions. Instead of trying to erase negative feelings, ask yourself, what are they teaching me? Fear, when properly understood, can motivate you to prepare better. Anxiety can signal the need to focus on what truly matters. By shifting your perspective, you'll see that negative emotions are not enemies, but silent teachers guiding your growth. Think of your mind as a car, a powerful, sleek machine, but without a driver, it can veer off a cliff at any moment. The mind is no different. If left to its own devices, it will wander into a maze of worry and anger. But if you take the wheel and steer it, you can go anywhere you want. Have you ever felt paralyzed by anxiety before an interview or presentation? Your mind instantly conjures worst-case scenarios. What if I fail? What if they think I'm foolish? In those moments, try shifting your perspective. This is an opportunity to learn and showcase my abilities. If I make a mistake, it's just a lesson. Instantly, your mind calms and you regain control. Another truth about the mind is that it works through addition and multiplication. When you focus on a thought, whether positive or negative, the mind magnifies it. For instance, after making a small mistake, if you dwell on self-criticism, the thought "I'm useless" begins to loop and solidify into a belief. But if you redirect your focus and remind yourself, "This mistake doesn't define me. I can fix it and improve," your mind amplifies positive feelings, helping you rebuild confidence. Understanding the mind isn't just about observation, it's a continual practice. Start by listening to yourself. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by negative emotions, take a moment to pause. Breathe deeply and ask, where is this emotion coming from? Is it as bad as I think? Is it worth losing my peace over? These simple questions not only help ground you, but also create a space between you and your mind. When you observe your mind from this distance, you realize that thoughts and emotions are transient phenomena, not your true essence. Ultimately, the most profound thing you can do for your mind is to understand and accept it. The mind isn't your enemy, it's a tool, a companion, as long as you know how to use it. Ask yourself today, what thoughts will you choose to guide your life? Will they bring you more peace, strength, and happiness? The choice is entirely yours. Number 6. Detach yourself from your thoughts. When you understand how the mind operates, you'll realize that negative thoughts and emotions are simply its natural byproducts, not a reflection of your true essence. But awareness alone isn't enough. You must learn to create distance from your mind to avoid being swept away by the chaos it generates. Like stepping back to see the entirety of a painting, this distance allows you to observe more clearly, remain calmer, and ultimately take control of your thoughts instead of letting them control you. Imagine yourself in an important meeting when a thought suddenly arises. What if I say something wrong? Everyone will think I'm incompetent. This thought quickly triggers feelings of anxiety and fear. But is it really true that everyone will judge you that way? Or is it just a narrative your mind has constructed? In reality, what stresses you isn't the event itself, but how you interpret it. Creating distance between yourself and your thoughts helps you recognize that they're merely whispers of the mind, not the truth. This is the first step toward controlling fear, anger, or anxiety rather than letting them control you. To build this distance, the first step is learning to observe your thoughts as if you were an outsider. Imagine your mind as a vast sky, with thoughts passing by like clouds. Sometimes the clouds are dark and heavy, but they never linger forever. You are not the clouds, you are the sky, serene, boundless, and ever-present. When you realize that your thoughts are just a small part of your existence, not the entirety of who you are, you'll begin to feel the strength within you. One effective way to create distance from the mind is to label the emotions you're experiencing. For example, if you feel anxious, instead of drowning in that emotion, try saying to yourself, "This is anxiety. It's here, but it's not me." This simple act is like turning on a light in a dark room. It brings clarity to what's happening inside you. Modern psychologists have shown that naming emotions can reduce their intensity, making them feel more manageable. Stoicism teaches us the same. Awareness of your emotions is the first step to mastering them. When negative emotions take hold, we often narrow our perspective, focusing only on the immediate problem while losing sight of the bigger picture. This is when you need to shift your viewpoint and see things from a broader perspective. Ask yourself, will this really matter in a week, a month, or a year? Epictetus reminds us, Is this something that is, or is not, in my control? If what worries you is beyond your control, let it go. If it's something you can change, focus on practical actions rather than letting negative emotions overwhelm you. Another key to creating distance from the mind is practicing mindfulness in every moment. When a thought or emotion arises, take a moment to breathe deeply. Feel each breath in and out and focus on the present moment. This practice not only calms you, but also helps you see your thoughts for what they truly are, fleeting and impermanent. Like a river, emotions and thoughts flow through you, but they are not you. You don't have to jump into the water. You can simply stand on the shore and observe. Remember, your mind can be an enemy, but it can also be an ally. When you learn to master it, you'll no longer fear life's challenges or be controlled by emotions like anger or anxiety. Instead, you'll stand firm in every situation, not because life is easier, but because you've learned to face it with the calm resilience of a stoic. Affirm in the comments, "I am not my emotions," to show me that you're ready to apply what we've shared. Once you've embraced this understanding, join me as we move into today's final lesson. Number 7. Continuously train your mind to combat negativity. When you've created a distance between yourself and your mind, turn that understanding into a lasting habit. This brings us to the final lesson. Never stop training your mind. It's only through consistent practice that you can maintain tranquility and face life's emotional challenges with confidence. For Stoics, training the mind isn't a short-term endeavor, but a lifelong mission. Negative emotions like fear, anger, or anxiety can never be completely eliminated. They are a natural part of life, just as shadows are inseparable from light. What lies within our control is how we respond to these emotions, and therein lies true strength. Yet, many people dream of entirely escaping negative emotions. They believe a few books or some advice can change everything forever. But this is an illusion. Imagine trying to hold a ball underwater. You can push it down for a moment, but as soon as you let go, it will surge back with greater force. Our minds are no different. Trying to suppress negative emotions only makes them grow stronger and more repressed. When they return, they carry the weight of all the emotions we've denied. Instead of running away, Stoicism teaches us to accept and confront them by continuously training our minds. Training the mind is a long journey, often challenging, but it leads to true freedom. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." Just as a fig requires time to ripen, the mind needs daily care and cultivation. Begin with the smallest actions. When faced with anxiety, instead of letting it overwhelm you, pause and ask yourself, will this matter 5 years from now? This is not just a stress relief technique, but a way to train your mind to view problems from a broader, more distant perspective. Imagine you are an employee preparing to give a presentation to your superiors. Anxiety starts to take hold of your mind. You're afraid of making mistakes, being judged, or even ruining the entire meeting. In that moment, you have two choices. Let fear control you, or use it as an opportunity to train your mind. A Stoic practice that can help is premeditatio malorum, preparing for the worst. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? How would I handle it? When you are ready to accept even the worst-case scenario, you'll find that fear no longer holds the same power over you. Begin building the habit of training your mind by taking 5 minutes each evening to write down your emotions from the day. What made you angry or anxious? What could you have done differently? This exercise not only helps you understand yourself better, but also serves as a crucial practice to prepare for similar challenges in the future. As you write, you are cultivating the ability to observe your emotions from a safe distance, a core skill in Stoicism. Training your mind is neither a one-day task nor a destination you can absolutely reach. It's a lifelong journey, a process of incremental progress. You won't be perfect, but the important thing is to keep moving forward. Bit by bit, your mind will grow stronger, clearer, and more composed in the face of life's upheavals. Overcoming negative emotions isn't about defeating them, but learning to live with them, calmly and patiently. We've just explored 7 transformative methods to overcome negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. From understanding that your mind holds the power to create both joy and suffering, learning to control and distance yourself from your thoughts, to reframing how you perceive emotions, each method offers a practical path to reclaim your inner peace. And at the heart of it all lies the final and most essential lesson: consistently training your mind. These aren't just abstract principles, they're actionable steps you can integrate into your daily life to grow stronger, calmer, and more resilient with each passing day. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like to support our work and help spread this message to others who might need it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear about your experiences or insights. If you know someone who could benefit from these lessons, share this video with them and help make a difference in their life. And, of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because there's so much more valuable content coming your way. Thank you for watching, and always remember, the power to change your life starts with you.